Welcome to Life Workshop, where we discuss the forgotten basics. Here we go again, your most favorite host and co-host, Mo and Bo.
Hello.
Hi, and today's episode is on friends. So, and normally I like to start that, why am I talking about this? Normally it is said that loneliness is the main cause of death, as well as more than, alcoholism, not exercising, bad food, and a lot of other things. Loneliness is one of the main things. And the opposite of loneliness is to have people around, obviously, which that is where the concept of friends come, into, importance of it. And how, and that is why I'm talking about that. If we have a better understanding, then we can make better friends and we can be better friends. And then the frustration or disappointment that at times it happens, it becomes a lot less. So from the get-go, you tell me, Bo, what is the definition of close friends? I know that friendship comes at different levels,
Right.
But what's a close friend to you?
Well, I want to put right off the bat, we're not going to talk about family like that as a count. When you're like, say, well, my best friend is my brother or my dad. We're not talking about that. That's different. I think that's different.
I mean, they can be your close friend, but not necessarily.
For sure. But that's why we're going to exclude them from this one.
Sure.
And we're going to, for me, I want to exclude like a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. That doesn't count either.
Not just to please you, I'll do anything. Go ahead.
Okay. I just don't want that even to be into this, because I know that's I've considered those relationships a little bit that's a different situation. So when you're talking about a close friend, and for me, when you first asked me about it, I started thinking about it, and it's people who I go to, again, when I have a problem or I need to talk something out, I go to these people, and as well, when I do something and I want to share it with somebody, I go to these same people, and they're the people who are around the most, and who I tend to just want to spend my time with, and who I want to be around. And those are my close friends.
So let me see if I can reward what you just said. So friends are the one that you feel comfortable to talk to in your good and bad times.
Yeah.
Obviously without being judged, by them. And the second thing, that often if they are around, that you spend a lot of time with them, because sometimes we have friends that you don't see for quite some time. And again, when you see them as if it was just yesterday, you pick it up from where you left.
Oh yeah. My best friend, I only see him a couple times a year.
So the quantity doesn't become the thing necessarily. So it doesn't, it's more about the quality that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, normally it is said, for example, a dog is your best friend.
Oh yeah.
So you don't talk to your dog, or do you get advice from the dog?
I don't have a dog anymore, but when I did, I talked to him all the time.
Okay, I will leave that conversation alone. I'm hoping you didn't go to him for advice.
Well,
sometime. The way, and I have asked this from friends that, why do you have a pet? I believe you have 2 cats.
I do, right? Yeah.
And then why do you have them? What do they do for you?
I don't know. I was never a cat person before my ex-wife made me get a cat, and then I became a cat person. I just like having them around. They're just fun. They're crazy little killing machines that live in your house.
So it's somebody said it's another heartbeat, which is kind of interesting. That you want to have a heartbeat there. It's a companionship.
Yeah, joking aside, yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
it's nice
believe
to
it or not,
something, another living thing close to you.
Correct.
That you can take care of too. I think that's part of it too, because you, like a pet, you have to take care of your pet, and it's like a responsibility as well, right? You have a responsibility to these animals.
Gives you a bit discipline. Sure. And you're helping, yes.
Yes.
Actually, you're saying that because I remember a person in my previous house. I had a water damage. Then I had to move out and live in an apartment for some time. And then in this apartment, I didn't know anybody else. But the interesting part was I felt really kind of cozy just because of the fact that I knew behind the walls there is somebody else.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So there was another heartbeat, not in the room, but behind the walls. So I'm not a farm guy that can go live in the farm with your next door. Your friend is like a few miles away.
Yeah.
You know, but that was interesting. You know, that when you say the heartbeat part of it, you know, that it made a little bit of a sense about the discipline that you say. You know, this was the funny thing. You know, once we were talking. I mean, I put something on Facebook that, you know, about being single and not, marriage. You know, what's the concept of it? And sometimes, you don't need to be, or you don't have to live with somebody. Then a friend of mine, she put a comment on Facebook that you selfish bastard or something. That you become selfish, which was very interesting. And, that is true to some extent. There is some element of truth to it, that when you're more selfish, then you don't want to take care of anybody else, or you don't want to compromise as much.
That's true.
Because when you're living with somebody, or you have a cat or something, you have to make some compromise as well as you have to take care.
Yeah.
So, and that is true. It just promotes a little bit of selfishness, and that is good if somebody knows that you know who they are. Now, when it comes back to the main subject again, the about friends, as I said, the loneliness is one of the main cause of not having a good life. And I'm not talking about really living longer, although a good life normally ends up helping for living longer. But I'm talking about the quality of life. So we want to have friends, we all do, and believe it or not, I have this conversation with some other friends, and that what is a good friend? And somebody said, a friend is the one who is not your enemy to begin with.
What?
Actually, and she made a very good point.
Okay.
She made a very, very good point.
I mean, that seems obvious, but at the same time, I'm curious to hear this.
Mm-hmm. It is very obvious, but at the same time, you will see. She said, is not your enemy. And that really made, and I discussed it a little bit, when this means this. A friend is somebody who celebrates the good events and gets sad when you're losing.
Yeah.
In another word, because there are sometimes some people that they cannot see your success. If you become successful, they are jealous of it. And they don't wish you to be successful. And if you're ill and you fail, they feel good about that. There are sometimes some people that are so competitive. This is, I should say, I have to clarify it from the get-go. There is a difference between jealousy, the way I understand it, and being envious. So, for example, if you, Bo, you win $50 million, or I don't know, something really good happens to you that I want that, I might be envious of it. To say, I wish that had happened to me. That is being envious.
Okay.
But I don't wish you to lose it.
No.
If I wish you to lose it, then that has been jealousy. That I want you to fail, and then that becomes jealousy. But if I wish that if I could come up to your level, that's being envious, and that's just fine. So sometimes, some people, they become, or some of us, I should say, we become that competitive that the success of a friend or somebody we know, it hurts us versus makes us feel good. So if you are of that type, or people of that type, they can never, in my opinion, the way I understand, they cannot ever be a good friend.
Well, right. I mean, doesn't that kind of go without saying, though? If you want someone to fail, sometimes it's with little things, it's funny. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, if it's a comedy or something, something small or something, that they will recover from it, and it's a good learning for them, that's a different story.
Yeah, but on the grand scheme of things, like, you don't want to see your friends fail. You want to see them succeed. That's part of like sharing your successes with your friends. You want them to share with, like, I want to hear about their successes too.
That is very true, and we often people are that type, but I know. That there are some that really, when you become successful in a way that they didn't expect you, then they will not be as happy for you because they are more of in competition and an unhealthy competition. Competing is very good. Person, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
But if, for example, a buddy of mine kick my ass in certain thing, I try to, compete with them. But if they win, I want them to be even more successful.
Yeah.
It's not that I wish them to drop down to my level. I wish that if I get up to their level, as being envious, not jealous with the definition that I put, for it, just a few minutes ago. So the concept of, again, friendship is the first thing, the way I see it, is that they want you to succeed and your failure would bother them too.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's companionship, like, for example, a dog or a cat. You're not talking to your cats as much, do you?
Only when they're dicks.
So it becomes a matter of companionship as well as, as I said, you said, for example, sometimes going for advice or something. Sometimes you want to share your feeling. Sometimes you want somebody just to listen to you, just to be there.
Yeah. And
nothing else. Just to be there for you. And then and another time, another thing that I see is that friends, they have obviously different qualities.
Yeah.
For example, with some friends, you have something in common. Let's say if you do exercise with, or you work with, or travel with, or you have a party, to party with, or and sometimes with some of them you have it at different levels. But normally it's not all of them.
Right.
You cannot have, and sometimes some people say that this is my best friend. We do everything together. Really? And it might happen. But if that happens, really good on you. This is your lottery ticket that you won.
Yeah.
So you have friends at different levels. I mean, that is how I see it. And then have common, things with different people. So that is how I basically. But now sometimes to feel that, the reason I brought up at the very beginning, a friend is the first thing is that it's not your enemy. So if you want to invest on a friendship, that's the first thing. Then the second thing, to see what is the common thing that you have with that person. And then to set the expectations right. And of course, history, if you have been together for a long time, it puts some of the things to test.
Right.
During the good times and bad times, because sometimes you see somebody and you think that, it's going to be a good friend, but you really, again, time will be, a proof of it.
Yeah.
To see where you're at. But again, if we want to be a good friend of ourselves, again, the first thing is that we wish, others to improve and to have better lives and succeed. And then after that is, okay, now let's try to see what is the common thing that we have with the people. And I normally say that there are lots of people that are good people. It's just that we should find out the common part that they have, because again, we have different personalities.
Right.
And to see where is that common ground that we have. And then even sometimes when we run into some people that we may not like them, there is a saying, they say that if you don't like somebody, get to know them.
Right.
If you don't like them yet, get to know them more. Chances are a lot higher you will find something nice about them to like them.
Oh, I've definitely found that at times. Sometimes, and people say first impressions mean a lot. Sometimes the first impression that I've had of some people have been not so good, and then that person ends up being a really close friend.
So don't write off people that quick. This is where.
Oh no, yeah. First impressions are important, but it's not everything.
Yes.
Give a person a chance.
Yeah, very true, and that's what's very good. I forgot about this. That the first impression is important, but definitely not everything.
Yeah,
and
because people's people know that too, right? That their first impression means a lot, so they can be fooling you with their first. I've seen that a lot too.
Yes.
Oh, you first think, oh, that's a nice guy. He's a cool guy or whatever, and is not. and you find out, and it's like, oh man.
And at times, friends, they go through different stages in life. For example, I have a very good friend of mine that at the beginning we were really close and things were good, but I know that he's going through some stuff. So it's a little bit wobbly, but I'm sure when he get out of it, he will be as good as before. And I have had this conversation with him. But sometimes things happen too, but again, the very main thing is that personally, when I check to see, do I consider somebody as a close friend? One is that, do they wish me to be successful?
Yeah.
And do they get sad if I'm sad? That is the first one. Then I would check that how much do we have in common. So if I have something in common with somebody, but at the same time they are too competitive, or for example, they don't want me to succeed, normally I stay away from those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because as much as I have in common,
Well, I think eventually you would just sort of like grow away from people like that, right? Because you're not going to want to be around a person who's...
That is correct. But sometimes, again, I keep going back to this. The way you think decides the way you feel. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if we don't have the right set of thought, we give a person a second and a third and fourth chance, which we should not. And we don't to somebody who deserves the second and third and fourth chance. So if we have this set of thought, I think in a more methodological way, we can categorize, and it's a good thing. It's not a bad word. Categorize, that who fits where, and do I want to invest on this friendship or not?
Yeah, I think you do that subconsciously. Decide whether or not you want to invest in this friendship.
We do it, but
right?
again, it's more of a...
But you're talking, we should be thinking more about it, like primarily. You shouldn't leave it up to your subconscious.
That's correct. I would say in a logical way.
Okay.
And I have actually done this. For example, I should say this now. It was a few years ago with a buddy of mine. We were discussing. I said, what? I want to have a good life, and I want to be happy. And then in this group of friends that we have, if you want to be happy, who would you hang out with? With the happy people or the sad people?
Well, hopefully not everyone is a one way all the time.
No, but generally, some people are happier, some are not.
Yeah.
So if you want to be happy and go a happy life, who do you choose to be around with mainly? I think the answer is very clear.
It is on the surface.
I'm not too sure about that. It is as simple as it is.
No.
As a matter of fact, this is where I'm going with that. They say life is simple, we make it complicated. I think now you're making it complicated.
Yeah.
The answer is very simple. If I want to be happy, I want to be hanging around happy people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, okay, let's put an example to it. I'm relatively happy most of the time, as long as I'm doing something, but I get real sad sometimes. And are you telling me that sometimes when I get really sad, you don't want to be...
That's not what I said. I'm talking in general. In general. No, all of us, we have a little bit of up and down. But in general, the way I find you a happier person.
Yeah.
And in general, I'm talking about that, in the big picture. And in big picture, for example, and I had this conversation with a buddy of mine, as I said, a few years ago. Then we said, okay, so, we want to be around the happier people because I want to be happy. Then I said, in this group of friends that we have, which is like 30, 40 of us, who are the happy people? And then I realized myself, I had made the exact same mistake. Myself, I was investing on to be close to some other friends that they were not as happy just because of the fact that they had some similarities of other type. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to invest on that friendship, and I realized it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't give me that good feeling. But I couldn't understand it till we had that conversation. So myself, I was acting the exact opposite. When you go in an emotional way, this is what happens. That I was investing on a friendship that it wouldn't get me to where I wanted to go. But then we discussed actually that among this group, who are the happier people? And it was very obvious, there was no hidden agenda. And both of us, we said, so I'm going to invest on the friendship with those people. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, I did that. I'm very good friends with them now. And to be honest, life has been better too. So this is where I'm going, that if you plan it, if I really believe in that part, in a plan it in a very genuine way. And don't take me wrong. I'm going to, again, with some people who's not as happy or sad, again, I will have a relationship at a level, but my expectations are going to be different.
Okay.
And then normally I try to get them to live a happier life or a better life. And as a matter of fact, I'm going a bit too far again, but I put this even on Facebook at one point. I said, if you are down, I will be more than happy to give you a hand to come up. But if you expect me to come down and stay with you, you're on your own.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't do that for anybody. But if for anybody, if they want to come up and this, I would be more than happy to help them. So, and I use this strategy. So if I see some people, and I have, for example, a friend of mine that I know chemically, he suffers from a bit of depression, but he really works on it. So I spend time with him, and really I enjoy it because he's a very logical person too, and he has come up with some ways that even it has helped me to, to change my perception and make life even better. But anyway, so back to again the main subjects. Who is your friend? And normally I say that again, friends they have different values, and each one of them we connect at a certain level, and then they have to be aware of that and not to crisscross it. For example. Because, for example, I have asked again that who is your best friend? Some people say the friend that you trust most. I said, but trust comes at two levels. That
2 levels.
Yeah. One, you should have my best interest in mind. 2, your best doesn't suck.
What? I wasn't expecting that.
So for example, my mama loves me. I know that. But I'm not going to go to my mama if I have a car problem or I have a headache.
Okay.
So your best should not suck. That is where I'm going. But the first one is first, that you should have my best interest in mind. Even if you're a mechanic or you're a doctor, you're really good at what you're doing, but you don't have my best interest in mind, I will be a bit leery about coming to you. Yeah. This is what I'm trying to say.
And that's a two-way as well, right?
Absolutely. All this thing actually is a good way to think that are we doing that to others?
Right.
Because, and this is another thing that I normally add, you cannot have a double face. You cannot be good to certain people and bad to others. Right. There is no such a thing. Or you're good or you're not, period. So if I run into people that they wish other people ill, and genuinely they do, I don't want them around because I know they cannot wish me, to be successful. But at the same time, if they are good, and they really try to do good for others, I'm positive that they're going to do it for me too. I said, you don't have a double.
It's like if someone wishes somebody else harm, like really, like we all say like, oh, screw that guy or something. At some point,
not that.
That's just funny stuff. But if you generally wish somebody harm, it's like, or you hear somebody doing that or saying that, it's like, well, how long until you wish that against me?
That is exactly. That is exactly.
And that's not really, that's not a good thought to have about somebody either, right?
Very true. So because of that, even if I'm bringing this thing up again, that if we have those flaws ourselves, to be careful and to change that on our own.
Yeah.
Because I'm not talking, because sometimes we are talking about others and it's very easy to see others people's flaws, but it's not easy to see our own. Yeah. So if we think that way, that, maybe we have to start changing. And if we don't, we can never ever become a good friend. And that is one of the sad things. But anyway, another way that normally I say, it's a good question to have, to ask yourself. When you feel lonely and you need somebody, who would be the people in your life that you think of and you want them to be there? It's just a question. You don't have to answer it.
Oh, I wrote all that down. So
okay.
I know exactly who they are.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah.
As long as one knows. Another thing is that at the time of difficulties, because there are two different things. At the time of difficulties, who would you go to? Somebody who can provide you a better advice.
Right.
Of course, sometimes for this thing, you might need a professional to help you more than a friend, because if you don't have a friend who is a professional in a field, then, as I said, they best can suck. It becomes like my own scenario that in the previous podcast that I talked about handling mistakes. These two friends of mine, they had my best interest in mind, but their best sucked. They kept telling me to think about the mistake that I made versus getting over that and thinking about what the solution is. Just let's get over that one. But they would just bring me back thinking about, you made a mistake, but when we do that, but exactly that is when no change will happen. Just get over that, but I made a mistake, I accepted it, now I want to move on. How can I solve it?
Yeah.
So they had my best interest in mind, but they were not the best, people to take advice from. Again, are they friends? Actually, I said to somebody, are they your best friend? I said, absolutely, yes. Are you kidding me? Yes, they are. Absolutely. I love them. But I'm not going to get advice from them in those fields. And I'm going to leave it there. But
it's funny too, like when you're talking about categorizing and stuff, I looked at, like, say, the people who I write down who are my friends and everything. And I realized, like, I don't know if you're like, well, you said you have a friend group of 30 or 40 people, and that's wild. Cause I don't have that at all. Like, my friends are very singular. You know what I mean? Like, I'll have one friend here, one friend here, one friend here, one friend here. We don't all hang out in a group.
Of course, it's a group that I run with.
Mm-hmm.
It's my running group that I was talking about, that they are 30, 40. And I'm very good friend with, obviously, a few of them that we click more. With some other ones, we are just more of acquaintances.
Yeah. But I even have friends, like, I have a friend and they have like a friend group and they all go do whatever together and everything like that. And I show up every now and then, you know, and me and one guy are really good friends, right? And I kind of know the other people, you know, and that's how most of my friends are. Like my very best friend, he's only met my other really good friend one time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I have friends, but they're all kind of insular. If you can put it that way. I don't have like groups of friends so much as just single friends.
And actually, it is the same for myself, you know, that I have friends, because each one of them, we are individuals, that we have our own, you know, individual characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
So with each one of them, I connect in a different way.
Yeah.
But as a group, you know, for example, it in this case is running group, that, you know, we just share one, you know, thing of, for example, running, but at the same time, obviously a bit more, but not obviously in every single thing. And you connect with some more than the others.
Mm-hmm.
So some are just acquaintances.
Yeah.
Some are just friends as such. And then some other ones are close friends.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, and how would I categorize them? For example, if at time of difficulty, who would be the person that I will call? At the time that I feel lonely or feel really I need somebody, there are some, because some of them, they are really give you that fuzzy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And some other ones, especially the guys, they don't give you freaking fuzzy feeling, but they come and help you.
Yeah.
And then they just leave. You know? But
Yeah.
on the other ones, you know, some of them, especially the female part, they give you really that fuzzy feeling. You know,
I guess
it's more of, you know, that emotional, as I said, they are better. But partly, of course, I should say, in a culture too, that we have been told that the man should be man and roughly and these things, and probably that kind of has affected that.
I've never really had that so much. I know a couple guys like that, but most of us aren't like that. That's weird in Hollywood.
Sorry,
You know,
can you elaborate?
Well, like that. I'm a big guy, you know, and I don't have feelings and everything. We joke like that, but it's not reality.
That is true. But I should say, actually, now I wanted, because it's becoming a bit too long. In the Western culture, primarily, we don't touch as male. We don't give hugs. We don't shake hands as much.
We do shake hands all the time. Well, we used to. And
because of before COVID.
Yeah. But shake hands all the time.
But the hug,
I've definitely hugged my male friends before. And no, we don't hold hands. That's weird.
No, not holding hands.
So yes, that's Western culture. That's weird.
The hugging part of it, no, actually we don't hug our male friends as much as we do, obviously, our female friends.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, definitely, right? Because that's special occasion stuff.
And even
it's like a male hug. It's different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because of that, partly the culture is stopping us from giving or getting fuzzy feeling from another male friend, and we get it from a female friend. So sometimes it is, again, as I said, it's not.
I don't like it when you call it that. The fuzzy feeling from a male friend.
It is
not right.
I know. This is the cultural
that's
thing.
Cultural, I guess, but yeah.
But actually, no. If you look at it for example, in the especially Greek or Italian, or you go further to the Middle East, we do get that one too. And trust me, it is nothing sexual about it. But that's another story for another night.
That's whatever.
At the end, I would like to discuss this a little bit further. Probably we'll leave it for another episode, because I have a few interesting things.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot more.
There's a lot more to talk about with this. Yeah.
Again, I hope that everybody enjoyed this. And again, as always, if you want to get a hold of us, the best way is info at lifeworkshop.ca. And I would encourage you to check the website. Our website, has a lot more information at lifeworkshop.ca. And again, as always, life is simple. Don't make it complicated. We make it complicated, like what just Bo did earlier. And the question that I have for you again, please, just if you can ask this question. First of all, who do you call a friend? And then why do you call them friends? And then at the time of loneliness or advice, who would you go to? Who are the people that they come to your mind? Take care, guys, and love you all. Okay, bye now.